Okay, I'm going to do 3 examples with you that show 3 different types of problems you're going to run into on this assignment. I'm going to be working in set 2 on the right hand side, so I'll do numbers 9, 6, and 2. Remember to pay attention carefully not just to what the answers are, but to how I'm solving the equations in a more efficient way. Your job today, if you're struggling with solving equations, is you've got to figure out what part is you're making mistakes in so that we can fix it together and you can learn this before you move on to 9th grade. So I'm starting with number 9 and I'm just going to record it quickly. Okay. So the first thing that I notice is that this problem does not have x's in it. It uses the letter n. So I actually think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my eraser and I would like to replace the n's with x's. You could also just rewrite it underneath, but I think for me, since I get to work digitally, I'm going to take out the n and replace it with x because that's the variable I'm used to. And it still means the same thing. I'm just changing what letter I'm choosing to use. So now I'm going to make my scale and I'm going to start to translate what I have into some of the familiar symbols we've been using. So I know that when I see 2 here and there's no symbol in between, that means that I need to make 2 repetitions of everything inside my parentheses. So the first thing that I'm going to do is something we talked about in class on Monday, is I'm going to try to figure out what is in my parentheses in the symbols that I'm comfortable with, and then I'll have to repeat those 2 times. So I've been using X's instead of triangles, so I am going to record, maybe I'll change colors. I'm going to record up here in blue quickly that I have X in here. And then as I look at this, -3, we talked the other day that we can actually do a shortcut and we can just call that -3 because that's the way it will come out after we would bring in a 0 pair, which was the old strategy we learned. So what I see now is inside these parentheses, I'm going to kind of ignore x -3 and I'm going to focus on what I wrote in blue. I've got an x and a -3, and I've got to repeat each of those 2 times. So instead of actually listing them 2 times here, I'm just going to make my prediction. If I have 2 x's, the way we record that is 2x. And if I have 2 -3's, the way that we record that is -3 plus -3 is -6. So that takes care of my left side. Now on the right side, I see something similar here. I see a -2, and some people would ask me, Ms. Husak, is this -2 or -2? Really is the same thing, because if it were a takeaway 2, we would still use our same strategies of 0 pairs we learned before, and we would end up making this a -2 anyway. So let's record that as -2 in a circle, and then I've got a 2x here. So by using my circles and squares, I'm able to remove any plus or minus signs, and now I can just see what I've got on each side of the equation. I've got 2 x's and 6 negatives on the left, and I've got 2 negatives on the right and 2 x's. I'm going to start by taking the x's off each side. I'm going to use red for that. And what I notice happens is when I take my 2 x's off each side of the equation, I'm left with -6 on the left and -2 on the right. The notes we took the other day said that we've got to pay attention to whether or not we end up, when we run out of x's, we have to make sure we are looking at the numbers that are left and deciding if the numbers left make a statement that is true or that is untrue. It is not true